stupid,
yeah,
charismatic.
bring everyone, like, he's just, he's like, yeah.
Whereas the other characters
personality
make
higher.
a wizard funny. The guy, the
Because
young...
the spell's wrong.
Yeah, he gets it. And like, I was like, okay, kind of
I like
fine,
his
you know?
lack of confidence. I don't know.
Or if it's the last unicorn, you have him get crushed between the bosoms of a tree.
I love that movie, but yeah, that was one of those that haunted me.
Oddly sexual scene.
I
But
love
back to
those
the
out of place ones.
It was I was like a child just being like, I'm so confused. I don't understand.
back to the Hugh Grant thing. I think the umbrage with it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, we will move on for this. I
need
did.
He has the arrow ready.
No, I was actually going to say something poignant. I think the issue with the Hugh Grant things being the Oompa Loompa was less so much that you're typecasting dwarves in that role. Yeah. It was the fact that like this was an Oompa Loompa that was more than just a background character doing goofy shit. It was like an actual trained actor delivering lines and being part of the plot. And they were like, oh, we're fine enough when we're in the background and we're not adding anything to the film.
Yeah.
But when you take that character, which is traditionally given to a dwarf, you're like,
I don't know.
I know it's interesting. Like interesting point with that.
It's a tough one. I think you would have to speak to people with that kind of thing, because like for me, I'm like, ugh, if I was a smaller person, like would I want to automatically be like, oh, well, you're an Oompa Loompa. Oh, do you want this role? It's so serious and it's so made for you. It's actually just a small orange person who works for a white man and does everything for him and sings little songs and dances. Like,
But having one of those characters that's traditionally in a subservient role playing an active part of the plot, I mean, it's not it's moving the needle forward a little bit. I
think you would have to talk to someone. I think we would have to discuss, because I think I'm in the middle too, because it's I think that's a lot different than casting, like a white person as an Asian person. Casting a tall person as an Oompa Loompa is not it's not in that same realm, because an Oompa Loompa is not a real
I will be okay with it.
I guess if it was like in a real scenario though, and it was like say a biopic or something like that, and you cast somebody who is then superimposed to be somebody who's dealing with dwarfism.
But it's an Oompa Loompa. Like that's not a person.
It's fantastical.
That could have been something that was made up also to be like hateful towards people with dwarfism.
I think it was probably some racism.
I think it's a little bit of racism.
Yeah. So maybe this isn't the best example.
Yeah. I don't know if we should be.
Okay.
We will find
Willy Wonka.
Let me rephrase it this way. If they make another Star Wars movie and they cast Hugh Grant as R2-D2 and they stuff him in a trash can, I'm on board. I have no problem with it.
Robot. Okay.
Because the original actor who was R2-D2 was a
little person
with dwarfism.
Yeah, and R2-D2 is basically a trash can on wheels. So.
I'm just gonna. Okay.
I'm just giving the context.
Today's episode of this podcast. What's this movie called again?
Okay, let's start off. So it's the horror of Party Beach, which I always mess up the title.
The horror. Yeah, I thought it was horror in Party Beach. I'm like, no, it can't be in.
I thought the horror of.
Or is it at or in?
Of.
I thought they were also.
Whatever.
I was like, as I look at the screen, I'm like, hi, weird.
So this
Weird Al Yankovic.
This was the movie that Corey chose for this week. That was the deal.
Yeah, you bought it for my birthday. So.
Yeah, and I bought it because I knew it was a bad movie because I saw it on Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I'm like,
the episode is right over there.
Oh yeah, I have it on DVD.
Oh yeah,
for sure. I didn't put that version on because Rose like I don't like MST3K.
I tried,
which was fine.
I gave my best effort.
That's all.
There's one episode I watched I really liked, but I can get it why I was like, it's like Elvira to me. Elvira.
Oh, we're gonna eventually watch some movies that Elvira did, and they have like cutscenes with Elvira going blah 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 blah.
Yeah, when it's like cut out, when it's like like a cutaway, and it's like talking about like a little summary, like a little commercial break for 30 seconds. I deal with that a lot better.
Unless it's like built in and to be like comedy for that movie, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, why? I don't want to know what you have to say about it. I don't give a shit.
But yes, the horror of Party Beach.
Ash.
No.
Ass?
In between Party Beach.
I mean, it's the horror at the quarry.
The horror above Party Beach.
I guess, was only one murder at the beach.
In the general proximity.
Unless you count the oceans. because they're fucking dumping toxic waste.
Yeah, I was gonna say the wildlife.
Yeah, unless you count it's the horror of Party Beach.
Yeah,
right.
I was right.
Yeah,
I do. All right.
Yeah, the movie in a the movie in a nutshell. This one was made in 1963, and it starts off with a bunch of people partying on the beach, and that goes on for way too long because they had to get the band to play 3 fucking songs, right, Corey?
I was going to say I had 3 pages of notes.
On the songs alone?
No, 1 page is on just that full sequence up to at the bottom page. It goes like, and now the music is over.
Oh, I thought you were doing like a musical analysis, trying to break down. Well, the ratio between drums and bass were completely off balance. I don't even know where the flute was coming from,
or the female vocalist.
Yeah, the harmony in the background.
Well, a lot of the music was pre-recorded and dubbed over the footage, and you can tell because it sounds like a studio-produced song and not some guys noodling on a beach. Yeah. So anyways, while this is happening, there's like a weird bad romance where dude's like, oh, we're not kids anymore, but the girl just wants to party. And it's just like, okay, you guys, why don't you just break up instead of being miserable together?
Well, to set the scene, we're at like a black and white 60s, 50s like beach party, and they've pulled up in their car fighting to the dance party.
Well, that was the other thing. The dance party on the beach, like even though this movie was like made in
kind of fun.
In the 60s, it was kind of fun. It was but like everyone seemed to be like stuck in the 50s. Like the writer thought, oh, kids still do this. There's still this like gang of greaser style bikers who will roll into the beach party and start a rumble. Like
the least violent rumble I think I've ever seen in my life.
The softest fight.
It was like a step above a slap fight, but it had some sick. Some sick choreography. Like the dude in the middle of the fight, some dude does like a backflip off some dude's like hands,
and then butt check / elbows the dude behind him.
Yeah, and they're fighting over a girl. Of course. Yeah,
and it's fantastic.
And it's funny too because like. Yeah, it kind of at least makes sense that the biker guys would support their friend in a fight. I'm like, who the fuck are these other guys that are just like, Hank didn't know anybody showing up. He doesn't say hi to anybody.
Just a generic white guy, though. They're like, oh, everybody's in trouble. Yeah. Hell no. Got a suit.
It's shirts versus skins. He's got his shirt off, so all the guys with the shirt off, let's get him.
Well, because she wants to dance. He doesn't want to dance.
Oh,
She's dancing with the sexy biker.
He starts a fight because she undoes the knot on her shirt.
Wow. To be fair, her boyfriend's off flirting with
somebody else, and it's like, I can do that, you can't.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong going on with that. With all of that.
My only note: healthy relationships start not here.
Not here.
Especially when the actor starts hitting on the other woman. And Corey, do you want to drop that bombshell, or do you want to savor it?
I want to savor that bombshell about the love interest.
There's a spicy romance that you need to know, you, the listener, need to know more about, but. That's what we call baiting the hook, making you listen longer. So
everybody turns it off. They're like, we don't
Googles it and
fast forward. Yeah.
And I'm like, did you watch the rest of it then?
Yeah, I didn't. I would like to say that I didn't know. I was unaware.
So while all this teenage hijinks, and I like how they're like, I don't know, they're supposed to be like fresh out of college or something.
He must have to be because he's working for the weirdest home occupation I've seen in a long time. Chemist laboratory. It's, as you said, like discount Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Walter White, but he just has a bunch of formulas on the wall, but it doesn't make anything other than we'll find out, a sodium water concoction. Yeah, that's it.
So while this beach party is happening, while these people are like, "Oh, we're still young and vital," it's like everyone here is like over 40,
except for the children. They have to make sure that they
except for the children, which were a weird mix between I don't want to be here and I'm really excited to be in a movie.
Yeah. You can see them fucking with each other too, because they're child actors who were probably like, when in Jaws,
off the street.
It was the people that lived at the beach, and they're like, we'll pay you $60 just to run scared. It must have been just kids that were there, and they're just fucking with each other. One's trying to pull the other kid's towel off, and I was like, okay, thank God that didn't get caught in the movie.
That ended up in the director's cut.
Oh,
and
God.
that's why he's in jail.
And just like you did to me, he's allegedly in jail. No defamation charges will come to
Allegedly. The director's probably dead.
I think everybody in this film, other than maybe the children, is dead.
Fair.
So while all these delightful hijinks and the one-liners in this movie they're bad, but they're like the wah wah, like they're
It's just any sexist
you had a
joke
moment
you
to
could
do it.
think
And you
of.
didn't even do it.
Oh.
Oh no!
Oh, boo!
But
There you go.
there we go.
Yeah, it's just like
you
this
get 3. That was all 3 now. That was
peppered
2 and the one before.
with the most sexist one-liners, and then just like open air, just to like for I guess after or something.
It's
It's just like non-consensual, like just semi-rape vibes. It's like ha ha ha. It's so funny.
Okay, so let's think back. One of them was the girl asked the guy, "Hey, do you think kissing's bad for your health?" And the dude's like, "I don't know. I've never been sick."
Well, no, she interrupts him. He's like, "I don't know. You've never been kissed before? No, I've never been sick." And I'm like,
and
all right.
we've
That was
got, like,
probably the least problematic one.
I was gonna say, and then we've got like dudes interchanging, making out with a girl, like, and just
and she's so drunk or
those guys are
messed up
definitely-
that she doesn't know who's who.
Those people are definitely getting sick.
Yeah.
no.
And then there was the bathing beauty one.
Oh yeah, do you guys like bathing beauties?
He says, "I don't know. I've never bathed one."
Oh God.
And that's just like, wow. That's
And she looks disappointed. I'm like, "Good for you. You at least have a bit of a standard on this one."
Hi, Mr. Manches. Mr. Manches has joined the chat. He is rubbing against everybody. Up on my lap. All right. So, and while all this is happening, I know this seems like a lot to set up, but listener, I have to let you know that like this scene literally drags on for 20 minutes of runtime. Easily. And while this is happening, there is a boat dumping radioactive waste in the water. The thing I need to point out is that we find out later on in the film that everybody knows they dumped the radioactive waste in the water, and nobody is alarmed by it until the horror of Party Beach appears. Like, then everyone's alarmed. And, you know, to be fair, it was probably still legal to dump radioactive waste in the ocean back then. So, but then there's like this really long transition scene where this skeleton at the bottom of the water, which is
just a skull.
Yeah, it's just a skull. And it's like nobody... maybe it's irrelevant to the movie, but I'd like to know why. Like, was it a mob hit? Like, what?
It's actually really funny because like when it zooms out, because I'm 100% certain this was done in a little shitty like kids aquarium.
Yeah.
It looks like it's in a sunken ship in front of like the mast steering wheel.
Yeah.
And like it's like, is this from, you know, ancient times?
Yeah, the ancient times in like the harbor 3 feet from shore.
Holy shit, it was a pirate movie the whole time. We didn't even know. Oh, now I like this film.
Now it has some redeeming quality.
Oh, well, now that you think about it, the horror at Party Beach kind of looks like that weird Kraken pirate guy in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Except for
Davy
he
Jones.
didn't have
Davy
hot
Jones.
dogs with fucking
They
tentacles.
didn't quite move his tentacles around his face. They're like, yeah, just shove it in his mouth. Like
This monster can be accurately described as the creature from the Black Lagoon's goofy uncle, who's just like nobody finds funny. Because it has big googly eyes, and then its mouth is frozen in an open kind of thing, and it has multiple tongues, but the multiple tongues look like as Corey said, they look like hot dogs.
Yeah. Are we sure those are tongues?
Are
we just guesstimating?
We're guesstimating because remember when there was like, well, this one looks a little different, and I think they had one that actually had a mouth. Because remember when like
why didn't they showcase that one?
That's
because it wasn't supposed to have a mouth or something.
Yeah, and I was because they show it when later on when the three girls are getting attacked. Yeah, it shows them biting the hand. And
no, that was a slumber party.
Was that a slumber party?
Yeah. When they're chewing on the hand.
Yeah,
I think they only did that just so they could show the hand because they were like, oh, actually, we don't know how to like, you know,
how
what
are
I mean?
they hurting them?
Yeah, like I think they just
didn't. Me to death.
Yeah, it's hot dogging me to death.
Just dying and smelling like hot dog water. That's how horrible way to go.
But I actually liked the transformation scene as long and drawn out as it was.
I couldn't even see it.
Yeah, Nick refused to